and welcome to Onesies, a podcast of one season wonders, blunders, and sociological deep dives into the um, genderizing of adolescence in the early 90s in ABC sitcoms pre-Disney era. My name's Andrew.
My name's Emily.
And we are working our way through 1993's Joe's Life.
Joe's Life.
Joe's Life. And we are on our way. We are
Episode 7.
almost to cancellation. We could have done that. We could do TV shows that didn't make it through their full order run.
Yeah.
That would just be delightful, I'm sure.
I mean, it's exactly what you don't want.
Oh,
which is why we watch Chess Game, right? You don't want the TV shows that are so abhorrent, so terrible. You want some good stuff too.
Yeah. And this episode is better than last episode.
Marginally.
By virtue of not being the most offensive thing.
It's marginally better.
I've seen in quite a while. But
it's pretty bad though. So don't get too excited, folks. We're talking about episode 7 of Joe's Life called You Can't Take This Job, period. So it's funny that they worked both of the subplots into the title.
Yes, it is.
It's real funny and clever.
I mean, for the Joe's Life writing room, it's far more competent than many of the other. Mimi Kennedy came up with it. She was like, "What are you going to do? Call it You Can't Take the Job, period?" And they were like, "Fuck yes, we were."
How did you know? Write that down quick before I forget.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's.
Do you have your 3 things?
Sensitive guy of the 90s, family meeting with no mom, and let's just go for Playboy Channel.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Oh, God. The gynecologist's office. What else? You think I'm too selfish to make your dinner? And something I scraped off my back, which technically is one of the least problematic jokes
that this guy's ever made. Yeah.
Yes. And yes, it's not something he wiped off his wife's back. Okay. So now we start off with Joe telling the boys how TV was back in the day because they're complaining about bad reception.
Yeah. When I was a kid, literally, yes. That's the first thing I have written down.
That's sort of interesting too, because we got a little bit of that, but we've never really gotten it to this sort of level and this tropey. And also this is kind of a shitty one just for 93.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just drawing attention to the fact that Peter Honorati's on the older side to have kids that age. Like, just saying. It's a little weird. And that's something that once you started doing the math in your head in the 80s, thanks to Back to the Future, you're like, wait, the parents are or aren't old enough to have experienced those things. But anyway, then Sandy comes in and says, but I mean, I had a black and white TV and I had the rabbit ears issues, but by 93, there would be cable TV talk and so on.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. We're going to try to stay on the main road this episode after Tangentville last time.
Yeah.
But
this has got some tangents. God. I mean, that we could avoid. We could easily avoid.
Yes. Well, the Playboy Channel's coming right up.
I know.
But first, we need to talk about how Amy is going to be going to school with Mom today.
Yes.
Also, Mom is back at the hotel, so she can't take Scotty Jean to the zoo, so she's terrible and she's failing as a mother.
And Scotty Jean is telling her this, making her feel guilty.
Do you have this job, Mom? It's like you don't love us and you are irresponsible and putting all this on your husband. who suffers. But anyway, no, really, she's got to take Amy to school with her because Amy has had her period and Amy's not feeling well. Joe.
So it's worth noting that mom is telling dad this, but pulls dad away from the boys because you can't have boys overhearing this information.
Oh my God, Emily, what do you want? Yeah, they'll know how female, very, very basic female anatomy works. Just like second sentence of a Wikipedia.
Not even anatomy. They'll know
physiology. Sorry.
Yeah, they'll know that women have menstrual cycles, and that's unacceptable. In 2020, in 2023, it is unacceptable in most places.
Have menstrual cycles, and even that's even more.
Sorry, yeah,
unacceptable. Yeah. No, it's fine because in 1993, they would have all just started shooting themselves if anybody had broached this subject.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, Dad, Joe is not happy to be hearing about this. She's having another one.
So obviously, sex education for Dad was not particularly great.
He's been married to Mom for at least 14 years.
Does your wife talk about her period with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're a bad example. No, you're a good example. No, I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke because this is ridiculous.
Even for this plot, it's ridiculous. They will, spoiler, turn all of this around and have a heartfelt finale to all of this. Well, within reason. Within reason. It does not involve Scotty Gene raping and murdering his school teacher, which, if this were Free Spirit, boom, or Paulie doing it. Yes. If this were Free Spirit, that's where we'd be. But for this show, they at least seem to ignite, but they aren't.
They spent 20 minutes of the episode really being down on this girl for having her period. And to be fair, she's down on her mom for not being there. And she's embarrassed by her dad having to. So, so I'm not blaming her, but the writers of this episode made the whole thing very, very, a lot more than it needed to be. They made a mountain out of a molehill.
Yes. Because
22-minute episode and then turned it around to this heartfelt daddy taking me to the gynecologist.
Right. Without any character development. The trick of Joe's life is you have to do this. And I guess probably, Archie Bunker had to fucking eat shit that's why. Okay. Anyway.
You can't do that. Folks. You can't do that anymore. People don't understand nuance anymore.
Nuance meaning, I was wrong about this, or I was wrong about this.
Well, you couldn't have anybody you couldn't have anybody like Archie Bunker on TV anyway, because the whole point of it was him being horrible. You can't have anybody being horrible on TV now. I mean, you do, but it's not acceptable. But you can't even have the lesson of turning it around. It's it's got to be one moment where somebody misgenders somebody and it is instantly cut down. But it can't be an episode of Archie Bunker being I don't understand. Why does this female presenting person want to be called he? You can't have that. It has to be an immediate thing or nothing.
Okay.
You can't have that nuance, I guess is what I'm saying. And in this, it's the same thing. You can't have the nuance of dad just being accepting of his daughter's period. She's growing up before his eyes. That's his excuse. Is she's getting old too quickly. And that comes around as a joke in the end too. Sorry, I'm on a tangent. Jesus, stop.
I know it's really bad. It's so much. It's so much. It's watching Joe's life it is looking into the abyss, folks. Okay, so here's the Playboy. Okay, so I'm never going to get used to it. Sandy's can you please just get used to this, Joe? And Joe is fuck you. No, gross. Never going to happen. I refuse it.
Yeah.
Good husband. I am a sex
terrible
symbol.
husband.
I am a sex
terrible father
symbol right now.
Oh my God.
Okay. Mom tells Polly not to order the Playboy. They're on hold with the cable company. This is the other thing is you had to be on hold all the time. So
This is
Now
a
you have
huge trope in television. I mean, I think they even did a Curb episode about it, like not a recent one,
but
just
one of the
before they got
early ones.
divorced. Yeah.
Right. And so it's like this also of course plays in that people used to wait before we had call centers in other countries. People waited on hold long enough you could turn it into a real-time sitcom episode,
Yeah.
which I think is I'm not making that up. I think some show did basically that. Or I'm making it up. I don't give a shit. But now instead, you just have people making low-key racist comments about not liking who's helping them on the phone for 27 cents a day.
Yeah.
And we don't turn that into a joke because, that's all of our audience, right? Like we got to bisect very carefully the passive classism and racism of our target markets. But yes, so then Polly's on the phone. Don't order the Playboy channel, which I feel is like a joke we've already made about this show. Is it?
I don't know, but Polly's what, 12 or 13?
Yeah.
He's just admitted to having a crush on his teacher. He's of that age where he's probably should be locking the door to his bedroom as regularly as possible. I don't know. It's stupid, it's dumb, unnecessary, but easy laugh.
Is
right?
Joe just Chris Cooper from American Beauty? I've only seen it once, and that's a problematic joke in some ways. Possibly,
maybe
all
more,
of that movie's a little problematic.
Yeah, maybe a little more charming than Chris Cooper in American Beauty.
But I mean, kind of. If they only had one kid, maybe we could get there. Okay, so then mom says, "Don't be weird about her having natural bodily functions," and Joe's like, "The only bodily function she's allowed to have is making tinky."
Yeah, she can't shit. She can't
Whatever.
fart. She can't burp. She can't do anything because that's not what girls do. That's not what his baby girl does. Except I'm sure he had to change a ton of diapers.
He didn't do a single fucking diaper.
Fair enough.
What are you saying?
Fair enough.
To me. Okay, so then got to get through this first scene. We just got to do it. Okay,
Yeah.
So then Amy comes down to go to school. Mom says, "Be supportive, Joe." Joe says, "Hi, honey." And Amy goes, in what isn't bad and probably was a good joke on Roseanne the first time it happened with the
Darlene.
first kid, and then they reused it for Darlene. "Oh God, you told him." She gets embarrassed and runs out. That's it.
Yeah.
Dad goes into the kitchen and says, "Boys, we're moving. Can't have two women with periods in one house. Got to go."
He should have been planning this. He should have known that this was coming and been planning this if they're going to move.
That should have been the show. Joe's life was about him deciding he refused to live with two women with periods. All right, reboot. We got the reboot. Okay. So then we cut to work where Ray is making food for the old guy, and he's preparing it nicely. And the old guy is getting pissed off at him for taking so long. Now, this is the other thing. We'll go through this real quick because Emily doesn't watch The Bear either, so it doesn't matter. But in the definitely 80s and most of the 90s, you made fun of fancy restaurants because your target market was Olive Garden goers, basically.
Yeah.
So this is just them doing this. This is a far cry from today, the food porn of today, right? This is pre-Food Network for the most part. So it's even before that. It's even before you normalize like the sort of Iron Chef sort of worker intensity of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Much less the beauty of it, right? Like much less The Bear, which sizzles and pops.
And it's like before, obviously, social media influencers taking pictures of
foodies didn't exist.
Yeah.
So Ray has been taking a class where he's been learning to do this, and he's very proud of his radish rosé. The old guy says that looks like something I scraped off my back.
Again, didn't say it was something he scraped off his wife's back,
or
which is great.
Any other part of her body. And then Ray's like, "Food's got to look good," hands it over. Old guy's like, "Ha, it's to go." dumps it in a container, and then shakes it up on his way out.
Yeah. Fuck
Which
you,
Ray
Ray.
says,
Fuck you, Ray.
I never liked you, waiter man. And I'm like, that shouldn't be the first time you ever said that.
Yeah.
Okay, now we get our Joe and Barb scene, because apparently we have realized that the
Barb
only
is,
person who can bring any actual humor to this show is Mimi Kennedy.
Yeah.
So she's got to have a scene with Joe. They bitch about the cable man, and then it's on to, there are fucking 2 subplots in addition to the 2 main plots.
Can I tell you really quickly? I forgot what we had talked about last week when I read the synopsis of this week's episode, until it was like, wait a minute, am I watching the wrong episode? I thought I was watching the wrong episode the whole time, because it takes so fucking long to get to the plot point.
So long. No, you're fine. Because first we've got to talk about garbage.
Yes.
Stan and Mike. So we actually have another paid guest star as opposed to somebody who doesn't get any lines, which is a rarity on Joe's Life, unless it's one of the objectified teachers. So Mike says, you've got to start paying more for garbage, man. You got more garbage. Your garbage has the sweet smell of success to it.
Yeah.
And so there's a joke about how they're just men negotiating, blah, blah, blah. It's like, meh. Leo.
But they're hollering at each other because it's New Jersey.
Well,
and
that's
East Coast
men talk.
East Coast people yell at each other, and that's a conversation or negotiation in this case.
Leo comes in, says something about
he needs to make some money, so why don't you let him dump the garbage?
Yes. And so Leo
and pay him $300 instead of $500.
This is a good joke once we discover what Leo's garbage man scheme is. But there's a joke here how Leo thinks he has the attention span of a calzone, but Stan's like, no, it's that you listen like a calzone. I'm just going to say, Danny Masterson doing Italian jokes feels like it's not super. Like, you're just like, you're not. This is very ethnic. This would be, if this were 1933, they'd be doing this in a much more, and then you married your cousin type thing and stole a good Protestant's job. Like, it's kind of weird. Okay. But then Joe intervenes and gets Stan to agree, which is more of this Joe intervening on Leo's behalf to convince his brother to do something, which even the first time they did it, they were like, this is a stupid idea and it makes no sense that anybody falls for this and we shouldn't do it again. But they're not even like talking their way through it. There's an arm waving sequence that results in Leo getting the job, and we are underway on subplot C or plot C. I don't know how we want to
I don't know how
differentiate these. Okay, now we're back to plot B. A phone call.
Yeah.
Nurse from Amy's school. What's going on? Something's wrong with Amy. Gotta go to the gyno. All the men, or Stan is very, understand.
He does not have any daughters. He doesn't have any daughters either.
He's never, as far as he knows, Mimi Kennedy's never had a period. There's old guy comes in, hears the end of it, and says, hey, now, if we're getting a health plan, I'd much rather have dental. Funny joke, sexist, but still funny. I'm okay with that joke.
His wife probably still needs to go to the gynecologist on occasion. She might not be having her period anymore, but probably still should keep that in check.
You think he thinks his wife should get any of his medical insurance?
Fair enough.
Okay. Now we go to the gynecologist.
Oh, dear God.
Okay. You remember how we've been saying since the first episode, Joe's Life is a show for people who hate their fucking kids. And it's all about how much kids fucking suck. And it's not like Roseanne or something where Darlene's going to have like some profound moment that shows like, you're not raising little clones, you're stewards of, full born entities and blah, blah,
and
blah.
fully realized characters.
Fully realized characters. Nope. Here we go. Joe's in the office. Amy's still inside. They're like, wait out here. They're like, and he's like, no thanks, I'll just wait out here. This got me like, I get it. It's not as bad as it, like, this is, baseline sitcom. Like, this isn't bad. Like, this is a Ray Romano episode, even though I don't think his kids even had names on that show. Because they knew that they couldn't do a show about that many fucking characters.
Yeah. They learned that lesson from Joe's life.
But it did raise my eyebrows where I'm like, your kid had to be taken out of school and transported to the gynecologist's office. I want to talk to the doctor right now.
Yeah.
Like, what's up? That sounds like she's bleeding out. Like, something's wrong. I want to know what's wrong. No.
But we find out from, is it the doctor or is it an attending nurse or something?
I think it's an attending nurse.
That
it's not the doctor.
She's just not, Amy is fine. She's just not used to so much discomfort.
Yes.
So maybe a trip to the gynecologist in a ambulance was not necessary.
Yeah.
But he seems concerned.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, my biggest complaint about this scene is that almost every woman, and there's like 20 women sitting in this waiting room.
Yes, there are.
First of all, I've never seen that. Almost all of them are pregnant, like heavily pregnant.
Yes.
I've never seen that.
Okay.
This is a problem with, I think, perceptions in the media. People go to the gynecologist for more than just pregnancy-related things. It's a general healthcare thing, right? It's general healthcare for people with vaginas, not just for pregnant people. But everybody is heavily pregnant. I was deeply.
There's one person who's not. And
I know.
We'll be talking about them in a bit.
I know, but like almost everybody is heavily pregnant, and they're wearing those giant 90s pregnancy dresses that I don't think anybody ever wore.
So Joe's trying to calm himself down, gives himself some, verbalizes to reinforce, talks about how babies are just screaming little sleepless puke factories.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of fun. It was almost funny, but I feel like I've heard it before. Better.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke. I mean, it's a Roseanne joke.
Yeah.
It's when Roseanne goes with somebody to the fucking gyno and there's like two other people sitting there and she says it. She's like, ah!
Yeah.
Yeah. The ladies in the waiting room do not appreciate that.
He apologizes.
He does apologize.
Maybe that was just my experience.
Yep.
Nope.
Sits down to look through some literature that he's absentmindedly picked up because men just pick things up. It's a medical pamphlet that he turns the center of like it's a centerfold before going, ugh, it's like it's staring right back at you. And I'm just like, that's really fucked up. That's a really fucked up thing to way to do that.
The title of it is like The Uterus and Me or something like that.
The Uterus and You, maybe? With a U?
Maybe with just a U, yeah.
But then he goes and he sits down then to somebody else to try to bond with them. And he's like, oh, when are you due?
She's not pregnant.
She's not pregnant.
Waka waka.
Then he goes and sits down next to somebody else and talking about how, I don't know.
He has like almost a pleasant conversation with this woman. And for a pregnant woman, I mean, I haven't been around a lot of pregnant women recently, but she's very understanding of his flusteredness.
Yes, it is very much you will be doing emotional labor for me. And she's like, okay, I will do some emotional labor for you, man. And so
she's very patient. And I feel like that's not very realistic, that a woman who's heavily pregnant, hormones coursing through her, talking to a stranger while she's waiting to go to the doctor. We don't know why she's there. It could be something bad.
While he's had multiple outbursts
Yes.
that she has witnessed. Yes.
She should not be so patient. Whatever.
Yeah. But then she tries to be reassuring and says it's got to be weird for her too. And so, is this going to be Joe learning? Not yet.
I thought that this was going to be like, the joke was going to be that she thought that his wife was in there with a baby or something, like, and that the joke was going to be this, 15-year-old girl comes out and the woman, I don't know. My humor is maybe a little more edgy. I thought it was going to go somewhere completely different. I didn't realize that the nurse giving dad information about his daughter very loudly. I just thought that was a TV thing, right? Like, oh, well, this is happening. You don't give your information out like that, like publicly.
Hey,
so
hey
20
now.
people.
Hey now, this is what Fauci and Bill. Damn it, this is kind of my unintentional bit. Bill Gates have been doing, right? Like, yeah, they want to give away. That's what HIPAA is. It's so they can take your guns.
Oh, I don't have any guns.
Well, there you go. You need some guns so you can have kids who shoot each other. Oh fuck. That would be my favorite episode of this show. Oh my god. Oh, Scotty G accidentally kills Paulie. Oh, I'd love it. Okay. Amy comes out. Get the car, pull it around back, pretend like you don't know me.
Yeah.
Joe says, oh, look, we're back to normal.
Yeah.
That was part of the thing, is you'll be back to normal someday. Joe's like, yeah, we're back to normal now.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Kinda.
I mean, it's a scene that
outside of the context of her having her period, it would be funny. But the fact that she's having her period and it's like she's being a bitch, that's not fun.
Yes, because we also, oh my goodness. Can you, when did human resources departments finally tell people that they had to stop suggesting publicly that women just didn't work some days of the month?
I don't know.
2014 probably. Like, okay. God. Oh, wow. Okay. So back home, Barb and Sandy's upset that she missed
the first gynecology appointment.
Her first gynecology appointment. And I'm
milestones.
Like, weird. This is just, I don't know. I was like, we need to meet your mom, Sandy. Also, the way you like, Sandy's a weird mom, like, because she's got Stockholms from living with Joe. So things are going to be fucked up. Here's where we get some nice homophobia. Where Joe and Amy get in and everything's under control. Scotty was in pantyhose, but it's perfectly normal Joe. He was wearing it over his head and
pretending to rob the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Waka waka.
So then Sandy talks about how she feels like she's let everybody down today. Barb says, you never gain weight and all my friends wish you were dead. And Sandy says, thank you for objectifying me.
Oh my gosh. And my son's friends all want to fuck you.
Yeah. Especially your daughter, that guy who wanted to date your daughter. He stole so many of your panties.
But doesn't she also reveal to Barb that she's been offered a permanent job before Joe gets home?
I'm sorry, you mean over halfway through my notes for the 22-minute episode? Yes. Yeah. The title. Yes. I was offered an executive assistant job today. Blah, blah, blah. There's travel and then something about how
you get free rooms at the hotel.
And you get to be away from your kids. And Barb's like, don't rub it in. I already said this was great news.
Yeah.
I need to talk to Joey.
And in this moment, she's very excited about it.
Yes, she is very excited about it. So then Sandy, they get home. Sorry, I didn't note that right. But then Sandy and Amy are going to talk, but Joe and Barb are going to talk, where Joe talks about how he's missed all of Amy's first moments and he got stuck with this one. And so then he says this is your sensitive guy of the 90s, but this bites.
Yeah. I'm a sensitive guy of the 90s, he says. And it made me laugh because I feel like that's a thing I've heard over and over and over.
Well,
I feel like it's a sitcom trope, right? In the
it's
90s.
yeah, but it was a sitcom trope in the 80s too.
Oh, okay.
It also was a crossover trope because it's a trope in the first Lethal Weapon. It jumps out, but it got really big in the 90s.
Yeah.
You had Sensitive Guy of the 90s before you had red-blooded American, the renormalization of red-blooded American male
Yeah.
and wholesale enthusiastic objectification that started with Baywatch.
Yeah.
We didn't have that for a few years. Got the culture back on track. Entertainment Weekly, baby. So then Joe tells Barb's like, you just had one bad day, Joe. It's fine. And then Joe's like, you know what? No, I've got a plan. It's fine. I'm going to tell Sandy to quit because she hates working. She just wants to take care of the kids and me. This has really been hard to get.
She has no dreams beyond.
Why would you? Have you seen Peter Onorati? Barb says, uh-huh, and then have a backup plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I thought was funny.
Yes. So hold on. Now we cut to Sandy telling Joe about.
The setup of this is important. Joe is sitting on the couch and Sandy is kind of not pacing in an anxious way, but just sort of walking back and forth behind him. So she cannot see the look on his face.
Right. Talking about how great this job is, how they could even stay at Disney. And then Joe's making faces about it, but she takes the faces and the lack of comment as support from her husband.
Yeah.
Silly girl.
And but Peter is going, great. Yes. Great. But it's strained and not genuine.
Okay. So then knock at the door. It's Leo covered in garbage.
I forgot Leo came back.
I believe Paulie calls out from upstairs because the kids.
Paulie does call out from upstairs. Something like
from upstairs.
There's a truck with a bunch of garbage in it in our driveway.
Yeah. Leo borrowed his friend's truck, but they wouldn't take it at the dump site because they want to be paid. And Leo didn't think you had to pay people to take garbage.
He needed a license to dump at the dump.
I need your help, Uncle Joe. Nobody wants my garbage. And Joe's like, well, I better help because the neighbors are going to be rising up against us because of our stinky nephew and truck full of garbage in the driveway.
Yeah.
As they leave, Leo says, am I still getting paid?
And Joe says, don't count on it. Or something like that.
Okay. Joe then gets home to hear Amy reading Sandy the Riot Act. Face it, mother, you're going to make everything impossible for everybody else. I've got no life because you only think of yourself. And so on. Also, Scotty Jean hates her for not going to the zoo. Paulie seems busy with his teachers. So he
Playboy Channel.
Yeah, he's got the Playboy Channel. He's fine if mom gets the job. So then Joe comes in. Amy storms off. Joe comes in. Resolution to the Leo garbage subplot or plot C is that Leo dumped the trash in individual cans and they ran around the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Cool. So then Sandy offers to make Joe dinner. Joe says, you're okay. I can handle it myself. I'm a fucking chef. Like maybe for the first time ever on the show, does he acknowledge that he's a professional chef who could cook for himself?
Yeah.
To which she responds, you think I'm too selfish to make you your dinner, husband?
Yeah. So, and rightly so. I'm not going to give Sandy a hard time about this, but she is full on feeling the guilt that her daughter and her other kids and Joe have dumped on her. And she has herself a little pity party in this scene. And it's not great for her. Like I for the character, I feel like maybe it could have been handled better, but she's considering not taking the job. She's like, everyone is right. I shouldn't take this job.
What kind of mother runs out of soup?
What kind of mother runs out of soup? because she offers to make Joe soup and they don't have any in the house. Oh, and then she says, "Oh, but you wouldn't want soup from a can anyway because your mom used to make it for you from scratch, Joe. Your mom is a better mom than I am." So it's this huge pity party thing, and I felt really bad for her. I felt really, really bad that she was going to cave on this opportunity that it's the 90s. It was not uncommon for women to have jobs. But I guess because of what was the Diane Keaton movie?
Baby boom.
Baby boom and all this other 90s bullshit, that it was uncommon, I guess. I don't know. I raised by a single mother, so she worked. She worked a lot. It was not I
We didn't acknowledge single mothers as a common occurrence until at least the 2000s.
I know.
Don't be
I know.
silly. Don't be silly. Before that, it was Oscar bait. Okay.
Fair enough.
Angie, starring Gina Davis. It's about a woman who gets a fucking job. That's exciting. She should win Best Actress. She got a job.
Holy
On
shit.
that note, however, Working Girl is a fucking awesome movie. But anyway, okay. So,
I mean, when Murphy Brown did it, she fucking caused a national emergency.
yes.
Jesus. 90s. Aw.
I'm not going to take the job, Joe. Are you sure, honey? Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, I understand. I'm going to go get dressed for work now because somehow I can always go in and cook. Who the fuck knows what they do when I'm not there?
Yeah.
Since we already said Ray can't handle it on his own, but he does whenever I have a scene at home. But then Joe comes back and he's got an idea. He's not just going to give up a free night at Disney World. What? Take that job, Sandy. Do it. Aw. See, I didn't have any like moment where I had character development or like thought about this or
Well, but there is the family meeting.
that's next.
Okay.
But his decision here was he just was like he left the room and came back, right? Like
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
different Joe came back. There are two Joes. That's the secret of Joe's life. He's a twin. Okay.
They take turns
Also-
fucking Mary Page Keller. Who knows who's the father of those children?
Also a better show.
Yeah.
A such better, just psychological drama show. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay. So what about the kids? Sandy says. Joe says, no problem. They can just get a job too.
Yes.
Waka fucking waka.
And then
for the next scene.
And then we cut to the next scene where there's a family meeting in the bedroom of the boys. It's from a different angle, so
yeah.
I don't know. In a bedroom, and all the kids are there. Joe is there. Mom is not there, which is fucking weird. But Joe is essentially laying down the law, saying she's going to take this job, and we're all going to be okay, and just fucking deal with it.
There's this interesting moment at the beginning where Joe says, when you think about it, taking care of you was mom's full-time job.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, are we going to start talking about the unpaid household labor
Yeah.
of women now? Are we going to talk about that, Joe's life? Like, that
No,
was not
the answer is
that
no.
turn.
The answer is
well,
no.
no, but we are going to acknowledge
Yeah.
that it's kind of real, at least for explaining dear bitchy kids.
And you know, he mentions Disney, he mentions more income, he mentions all the things that Mary Page Keller mentioned before when she was pacing behind him on the couch. So he has turned around to her line of thinking that this is great. This is great news. We will have more money, but it's not going to reflect in your allowance, which all the kids are disappointed by in unison, silently.
So then there's oh yes, when he tells them that if mom's happy, he gets laid, so that makes him happy.
And if he's happy, then the kids are happy. Yep.
Yeah. And the kids are just like, we've never heard this bit before. I don't understand why you're saying it now. I'm like, this is not a thing we've been doing since the pilot, y'all. You can't just bring back this thing. The family meeting thing, like they should have established this in the pilot if they wanted to do this. But then Paul's like, I just want to point out I don't have a problem with mom working because I was going to be jerking off to the Playboy channel. So it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, well, yeah, we know you're okay, Paul. Get the fuck out of here with your hair.
Scotty and Amy are the only ones who really have a problem with it. And it's because Amy's bitchy because she's having her period and Scotty is a baby.
Mhm.
So
So then Joe and Amy have a talk about how it was a lot today, but we got through it, and maybe next time it'll be easier, but also maybe not, but they're gonna do it.
yeah,
And then
and it'll all be fine.
yeah, and then she's like, it's especially fine since I won't need to go back until I need birth control. For
And then
when I'm fucking
Joe's like, I'm locking you up.
your doctor to my funeral. Okay. Speaking of fucking, cut to the end. Credits. At least it's not some fucking school teacher's boobs.
Yes.
Instead, they're watching TV using Scott as the antenna.
Right.
He's
got
wearing
a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, he's keeping the 5G out of his head and directing
And he's
it into
holding
the
on to
TV.
the antenna.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there.
So, the first joke is that it's now Paul's turn. Like they were making Scott do it, but Dad gets there and is like, "Paul, it's your turn. You go over and get us reception." But then Mom gets home with some presents, and it's hotel crap. And the kids are like, "Wow, thanks." They're like getting soap and
shampoos and
shit like that.
Shower caps. Yeah.
But what is Dad getting? A do not disturb sign. And then here is the weirdest fucking thing in the episode. So Joe's like, this isn't going to stop our kids unless it's hanging from a Doberman. First of all, not true. Y'all be fucking in every room of that house. You fucked on the couch. We think you fucked in the kitchen, and that laundry room is just full. The black light in that laundry room is something else.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah.
Sandy's like, I already thought of that, Joe. I got us the honeymoon suite. And he's like, gee, honey, you're the best. Kids, you and your mom are going to a hotel. So meaning, he doesn't want to go to the honeymoon suite with Sandy. He also doesn't want to take it for himself. He instead wants to kick them all out of his house so he can.
Paulie ordered the Playboy channel. Hello. He wants to take advantage of it. But also, this harkens back to the episode where Sandy just wanted to fall asleep on the couch. Mm-hmm. All she wanted was time, like, to fucking rest and relax. And it didn't make sense to Joe then. But now that it's him, it makes sense. He just wants peace and fucking quiet.
But he also hasn't been doing any more work than usual. That's the other thing we need to acknowledge.
Well, he have to take Amy to the gynecologist
during his regular work shift. So he was just doing the unpaid labor of a parent at that point. Does he have a problem with that? Should that be compensated in some way? But yeah, so it was just I was just like, did I misunderstand the joke? And I was like, no, it's just dumb.
Like, it is just dumb. It is just
Joe doesn't do anything.
And because all they do is talk about fucking. And it's a very clear thing. Honeymoon suite. We can fuck in a heart-shaped jacuzzi. Let's go.
What's even funnier about that is one of the things Amy bitched at Mom about was that she had to take care of the kids when they weren't there.
Yeah.
Take care of Scotty, Jean, and Paulie. And so the amusing part of this is the way Sandy had it plotted out was, no, she's going to take care of the fucking kids again. It's fine.
Yeah.
I gave her a shower cap. Yeah.
Unpaid labor. Hello, shower cap. Allowance. It's not unpaid unless you're an adult.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was much less offensive than last episode. It was still startlingly offensive, but it more in line with what I would have expected.
Yeah. It wasn't
like
I was still mortified by it. By the whole idea of Mom getting a job.
All of it was terrible.
Family, ruining everybody's lives. It was like, I think, or maybe it was genius. Maybe it was like wrapping up all of this Dan Quayle hate toward Murphy Brown into one character. You give the bitchy perioding teen beautiful, eloquent speech where she tells Mom she's being selfish and ruining everybody else's lives for wanting a job. But then it turns around in the end that it's okay for Mom to have a job. Maybe it's brilliant and we just don't know it. I'll take that. I'll take that silence as agreement.
We've only got 3 more. You don't need to sell me on finishing the 3. We're gonna
knock it out.
I'm confident they don't know who Ralph Ellison is. Don't worry. Like
so next week's episode 8.
Oh yes.
No. Sandy's long estranged father visits and is a big hit with the kids, but not with her. Who plays the daddy? Grandpa Martin. George Coe looks familiar. Actor, producer, director. So we'll have a special guest star who will hopefully be better than all the other people.
He was a cast member on the first season of Saturday Night Live.
Was he?
According to Wikipedia.
Interesting.
Yep. He looks familiar. He was in Stepford Wives. That movie sucks. He was in a lot of shitty movies, it looks like. Ooh, a lot of shitty movies. Did he do better on TV?
2.5 Men, huh?
Do you just have a Charlie Sheen podcast?
No, I never want one.
Okay. He did a voice role in the video game of Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think he has a lot of comedy training outside of that Saturday Night Live, which is weird.
I'll have to look into that a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll see.
He was on Murphy Brown. Hey.
He was on Curb.
Oh, well, I guess that's it for this one. I got nothing more to say about it. It was pretty Joe's life, huh? So we will see.
It could be so much worse. It could have been so much worse.
It could have been. She could have not taken the job.
She could have not taken the job. Joe could have had a freak out about the period, like in some other way.
Yeah.
Like the plot could have turned into Amy needing I had forgotten that the reason you can't do actual story plots around people with vaginas times of the month is because you will cause all the men to go out with tiki torches and lawn care equipment if you were ever to I don't know, talk about her, what was actually wrong, or Joe needing to go oh God, what if Joe needed to go buy some tampons?
I was just thinking it could have been worse if the boys just opened her bedroom door and just started chucking feminine hygiene products at her.
This isn't Free Spirit, Emily. This isn't Free Spirit.
Winnie would put up an imaginary force field. Do you think Winnie had a period?
No, I don't think she did.
I think if I were a witch, that would be the first thing I did. Would be
I don't think
take that away.
I think that the conversations around whether or not a female character has a period in a writer's room go with the guy going somebody going, she wouldn't act that way, and the guy going, and then some guy going, yeah, she just has her period. Everybody going, oh, okay. And then the woman going, you can't just do that. And every guy going, actually, you're fired now.
Yeah. And
that's the end of the story.
Yep.
And they're #Hollywood. Yeah. So no, I think I was more worried about it than I needed to be, just because there was such limitation to what they would ever do.
Yeah. Well, and I just realized that I'm more excited about this guest star than I should be, because I just realized he probably won't show up until 3/4 of the way through the episode. So we'll get 2 minutes of dialogue from him, and that'll be it.
I wonder what plots A, C, and D will be.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out next week when we watch,
folks,
episode 8 of Joe's Life, Dear Grandpa. Thank you all for listening. Andrew, see you in Television Land.
See you in Television Land, Emily. Also, reminder, we're doing a Doctor Who special this year. We have that to look forward to. Remember?
Yeah. I am looking forward to that.
See?
It'll be great.
That is actually something.
That's
okay,
great.
Folks.
Okay.
We'll be Whovian by then.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.